What happened to Oscar on General Hospital? Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. As soon as Oscar Nero showed up at Jocelyn's party in June of 2017 on General Hospital, fans were intrigued by the teen. And not just because Garen Stitt replaced the original Oscar, Rio Mangini, after just 2 episodes. Mangini got another role on another series, necessitating the sudden recast. The young man's origins were originally shrouded in mystery, but both before and after the truth came out, GH fans remained enamored of the character. Which is why everyone was heartbroken when the character passed away at such a young age. Because Oscar was first seen at the party Jocelyn Jacks threw while her mom was out of town, Carly was naturally not enthusiastic about her daughter dating the boy. But after attempts to keep them apart failed, Carly decided to let them go ahead and date, while keeping a close eye on them. Once Oscar's mother, Kim Nero, was introduced, she attempted to keep a lid on the identity of Oscar's father. But that didn't quite work out, and Oscar soon started to suspect Drew Kane might be his dad. With Jocelyn's help, they swiped a mug Drew had recently used and ran a DNA test. When they got the results, Oscar decided he didn't want to know. But then Kim decided to come clean and told him that Drew was his father. The DNA test proved Kim's confession, and Oscar attempted to get to know his dad. It was a little awkward at first, but the father and son soon found common ground and began to bond. He also turned to Drew for help learning self-defense moves when one of his friends was being bullied at school. Because their school required all students to dress according to their gender, Oscar and Joss decided to hold an alternative prom on the same night as the main one. But unfortunately, their party was ruined when there was an earthquake and Oscar and Jocelyn were trapped in a freezer and nearly died. They were rescued, and everything was going fine until Cameron Webber resurfaced and still had a crush on Joss. But even more distressing was the seizure that Oscar suffered while at the Corinthos compound. When Oscar was brought into G8, Kim immediately called for Dr. Terry Randolph, a pediatric oncologist. She revealed that her son had suffered these kinds of episodes for a while as a child, but thought it was over. Then Kim finally confessed to Drew that their son had an inoperable brain tumor, and she had never told him. Kim had hoped to spare her child the pain, but Oscar eventually found out the truth from Cameron and confronted his parents. Although they wanted to continue trying experimental treatments, Oscar didn't see the point and tried to break up with Jocelyn without telling her exactly why. To avoid being forced to undergo the drug trials that could save his life, Oscar hired Alexis Davis to be his attorney and help him become emancipated. But Cameron finally came clean with Jocelyn about the real reason why her boyfriend broke up with her, and she confronted Oscar about keeping the truth from her, which inspired the teen to give in and seek treatment. Unfortunately, after undergoing the experimental treatment, Terry had to sadly report that it hadn't worked. There was a slight glimmer of hope when additional tests showed that Oscar's tumor hadn't grown any further, and Jocelyn helped him check off some things on his bucket list. But their visit to the Port Charles catacombs put more lives than just their own in danger, and their road trip to see Niagara Falls ended with Oscar in the hospital again after he suffered another seizure. Once back in Port Charles, Terry gave the family the sad news that tests indicated that Oscar's tumor was growing again, and he didn't have long left. Oscar was invited to move into the Quartermaine mansion to live out his final days, and he asked to change his last name to really be part of the family. Sadly, the teen could not escape the inevitable and passed away in his sleep with Jocelyn watching over him. Oscar Nero, portrayed by the talented actor Garen Stitt, was introduced to the General Hospital world as the son of Jocelyn Jacks and the late Stone Cates. As a young teenager, he initially appeared to be just another troubled youth in the sprawling Port Charles landscape. But his journey would soon become intertwined with many of the central characters of the soap opera. Oscar's story is, in essence, one of love, loss, resilience, and ultimately on General Hospital began when he was revealed to be Jocelyn's half-brother. His relationship with Jocelyn, who became his close friend and confidant, formed the heart of his character arc for a significant portion of his story. The two teens shared a deep bond, but their connection would later evolve into a romantic one, marking a crucial turning point in Oscar's life. Oscar's story took a devastating twist when he was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor. This diagnosis came at a time when he was navigating the joys of a blossoming relationship with Jocelyn, and their love story became one of the central emotional threads of the series during his final months on the show. Oscar's diagnosis created immense heartbreak, not only for him, but for those closest to him, particularly Jocelyn, who struggled to cope with the news. In many ways, Oscar's illness was the catalyst that drove much of his development during his time on the show. Throughout his battle with his health, Oscar faced numerous challenges. His condition became progressively worse, forcing him to reckon with his mortality at a young age. The emotional toll it took on his family, including his mother, Dr. Kim Nero, and his father, Julian Jerome, was immense. Kim, a trained doctor, had been a source of strength for Oscar, but even her medical expertise could not prevent his decline. His family's emotional strain was reflected in Oscar's struggle to come to terms with the reality of his situation. During this period, Oscar found himself grappling with difficult decisions. He considered different forms of treatment, weighing the options available to him, and at times he sought ways to ensure that he would leave behind a legacy that was meaningful. His connection with Jocelyn deepened as they worked through the complexity of their relationship, their love growing stronger despite the uncertainty surrounding their future together. As Oscar's condition worsened, the decision was made to pursue more radical forms of treatment, but nothing seemed to halt the progression of his illness. With Jocelyn by his side, Oscar struggled with the idea of leaving her behind and causing her pain. The emotional weight of his diagnosis became unbearable at times, and viewers saw a young man who had to reconcile the fierce desire to live with the stark reality that he was running out of time. In a heartbreaking twist, Oscar's health took a drastic turn for the worse. Despite the valiant efforts of his family and friends to give him a fighting chance, his tumor continued to ravage his body. Oscar's decline was marked by his determination to hold on as long as possible. He made peace with his fate and even took part in discussions about how he wanted to be remembered, finding solace in the love that he had shared with Jocelyn. In his final moments, Oscar passed away with his family at his side, leaving behind a legacy of love and resilience. His death had a profound impact on the residents of Port Charles, particularly Jocelyn, who was left devastated by the loss of her first love. Oscar's death served as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the inevitability of death, themes that have always been central to the soap opera genre. Oscar's death also brought about a significant shift in the lives of those he left behind. For Jocelyn, the grief and sorrow she experienced after Oscar's passing shaped much of her future decisions and actions. His memory lingered with her, and his untimely death marked a turning point in her growth as a character on General Hospital. She was forced to mature quickly, learning how to cope with loss in ways that few teenagers her age should ever have to. Oscar's journey on General Hospital was both tragic and meaningful. His battle with illness and his death left a lasting imprint on the show, and his legacy remains a significant part of the narrative moving forward. The impact of Oscar's life and death continues to echo in the lives of those around him, as his family and friends strive to honor his memory while moving forward in their own lives. What Happened to Oscar on General Hospital is a tale of love, loss, and the human condition, told with deep emotional depth and a sense of inevitability. Oscar's death not only changed the course of Jocelyn's life, but also provided the General Hospital audience with one of the most heart-wrenching storylines in the show's history. His story remains one that resonates with fans who continue to reflect on his life and the impact he had on the world of Port Charles. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updated news.